Hey guys, it's Jim Johnson here, the head coach at Contractor Coach Pro and your host here on Contractor Radio with another awesome episode to help contractors get a little better every day. And this is one of those topics where I can't believe we haven't done it before. It's actually the number one reason why contractors come to us to get coaching. They want to learn how to hire a better and stronger and massive sales team. And we're going to talk about that today, and especially in a competitive market. But before we go any further, let's get a message from one of our sponsors, and they pay the bills, and we'll come right back with how to hire a killer sales team.
Want more 5-star reviews from your customers? At Signpost, we make it easy for your customers to give you great reviews on Google, Facebook, Yelp, and more. Our software connects with industry-specific solutions, driving even more reviews from your customers. Drive loyalty and repeat business by sending the right messages at the right times to your prospects and customers. Message your contacts from anywhere, anytime, using text, photos, and video all in one app. Check on progress with campaigns and review generation across Google, Facebook, and Yelp. Visit signpost.com and get your demo today.
We want to thank Signpost. What a great way to create raving fans with our business, is being able to communicate with them, stay on top of what their concerns are, and get them into that marketing funnel so our sales team can go out there and do what they do best, which is take in prospects and turn them into customers for our business. One of the things that we get hit with all the time is I'm struggling to hire a good quality sales team or a good quality rep. And it's a competitive market out there. There's all kinds of factors that are playing into it. It's the number one thing that we hear every day. I'm having a hard time finding great salespeople. And there's a lot of factors that are creating this competitive market. There was a pandemic, which created a lot of opportunity to either go out on your own and kind of figure out your own thing and chase your own dreams. There's the stimulus money that keeps coming in, that's keeping people at home. And so when you have a competitive market like that, you have to position yourself better than your competition. You can't just be like everybody else, because if you're exactly like everybody else, you're a commodity, and there's no reason for me to engage with you. And so one of the big things I always ask whenever somebody says, hey, can you help me hire more sales reps? My first question back to them is, would you work for you? And that sometimes slows people down a little bit. Either they'll answer me rashly and they'll say, of course I would. Or if I tell them, hey, slow down for a second, just close your eyes, walk into your office and picture your office, what it looks like, your team and how they act, the culture that you have in your business. If somebody, a stranger off the street, walked in that door, would they want to be a part of that? And so that's step one. Like, you got to kind of figure that out first, is would you work for you? And if you wouldn't, I would strongly suggest getting involved with us as coaches. We coach on this contractor's blueprint to position companies where they become magnetic, that people want to work for them, which allows them to create this well-oiled machine that gives them control of their business so that they can grow their business and achieve that personal and financial freedom that they're chasing. And so there's these 12 components of our business. We call it the contractor's blueprint. It's something that we have learned over the time of coaching that determines the success or failure of a contractor. And they tend to focus on the one we're talking about now first. Like, I need to hire sales guys. And so they go out and hire a bunch of sales guys. And sure enough, they might even get lucky and the sales guy sells something. Well, then what? Do we have the processes and systems and everything that we need? So I kind of work it backwards for people and say, okay, you want to hire this great sales team. What does your training program look like? They're going to get hired. You're going to bring them in. How fast are they going to get to making money? And we call it TTM, or time to making money. And if that's a long period of time because you're doing ride-along training with them or verbal training with them, and there's no real training program, it takes a long time for them to get up to speed. And because of that, they tend to be looking for something else. The one thing for you to remember is that 90% of people, there's a study done, 90% of people that are hired decide to quit on day one when they're hired. That doesn't mean they're going to quit that day, but they now perceive it as a job that's the next thing to get them to a better thing instead of a career, which is a place they want to be forever. And so we need to really work hard to set things up correctly so that we can hire that pro sales team. And so we need a really good training program that can onboard somebody quickly, ramp them up fast, and put them in a position to succeed right away. We do that with our clients. We teach them how to put those things in place and how to leverage technologies out there to make some of that training a little bit easier. We also teach them how to coach and how to train. A lot of people think they know how, but the reality is they don't. And so there's some skill sets that's required in order for you to coach and teach people well so that they succeed out in the field. Next up is like, okay, we got a great training. We have a cool hiring program. We got people coming in. We're hiring them. We got them into a training program, and they're actually having some success. How are we going to produce everything? So do we have a system to what we're producing? Is that system scalable? Do we have the amount of labor and workforce that we need to perform all this new work that's being created? We got to kind of nail that down before we start hiring a bunch of people. And then if I've got my production down, what's my sales system? Do I actually have a proprietary, unique sales system that positions my sales team to succeed more often than our competitors? And if I don't, I'm putting them at a disadvantage. So each one of these is kind of chink in the armor of why somebody might not come to work for me. And so let's say I do build a great sales system and I've got something I can teach people to quickly and we can produce it and I can train people to it. How are we going to get leads? What's my strategy for that? Are we going to go knock a bunch of doors? Are we going to do something digital? So all of these things play upon each other and they're kind of a blueprint or step-by-step thing that we need to do. And then finally, technology. How are we going to capture all of these leads that we get? How are we going to follow up with them? How are we going to move them through our processes and systems? How are we going to allow for engagement between our team and our customer? How are we going to track and document everything? There's all this technology stuff that's out there that we need to consider. And then that's kind of the operational side of things. Like on the outside looking in, that's what most people see. But on the inside, what are we doing to set people up for success? How are we holding them accountable? How are we setting standards that they need to achieve production-wise and activity-wise to ensure that they're successful? And once we've set them, how are we holding them accountable to them? If we don't have any kind of strategy for that, it's kind of a sell as much as you can approach. And most people that are professional sales guys and want to become professional sales guys are expecting to walk into a place where they set some type of quota possibly, or maybe even an expectation and maybe even higher a goal. And so if we don't have those type of things in place, we kind of leave it up to human behavior. And that human behavior tells us that people will do as little as they possibly can to get by. And that's not what we're looking for out of a sales team. So if we set proper expectations that this is what we want somebody to do, both activity-wise and what they should sell and produce-wise, surprisingly enough, they achieve them. But what's our plan for that? And what does that look like? And then does it fit into our financial budget? Like, are we going to pay salaries and have employees and have payroll taxes and all that stuff? Does that fit in the budget to build a large sales team? And also, how are we going to compensate them financially? Is it going to be straight commission? Is it going to be some kind of salary and commission split? What is that going to look like? And then on that, how do we keep that commission with the right incentive to keep them producing? In a lot of cases, we don't set that up right. We see that as one of the big failures of contractors out there in the business. They wonder why their sales guy isn't selling as much as they used to. And that's because we raised their commission. They don't have to. They didn't have any expectations. There was no quotas to meet. And so they're only selling what they need. And so they can actually sell less. So we got to think about how that works together. And I'm just setting here the ground rules for like, okay, I got to get some things in place before I go hire a bunch of people. We're going to assume that maybe you've got some of these things in place. You want to go hire a bunch of people. We're going to talk about how to do that in just a minute. But you need to understand before you hire, there's this blueprint that I'm going to have these things in place, or at least well enough in place that my guys can succeed. So I've got some accountability in place. I've got some financial budget available for it, and I know how I'm going to compensate people. What's their employee experience going to be like? I think you can think of this as like HR possibly. Who do they answer to? Does that person have the skill set to train them? What does the onboarding look like? Is there like a 1 week like crash course, and then there's 90 days of growth, and then ongoing education? Is there an employee handbook? Is there a job description? All these things that create this experience for your salesperson to say, hey, I'm working at a place that actually gives a crap about me and wants me to succeed, or I'm working at a place that's just shoot from the hip and very reactive and keeps making up new rules as we move forward. And so we got to make sure that employee experience or HR is set right. And then if we've got all that, we need a process to follow, and not just a sales system, but a process from A to Z. I meet somebody on day one. What exactly do I have to do all the way throughout until that person is paid in full and a happy customer? That's more than just a sales system. And so getting this ideal process kind of put together so that everybody's on the same page, knowing who's doing what, when and where, and what their responsibilities are. And then the next step out from that being culture. What kind of culture are we going to have in our business? And is it a culture that attracts other people? Is it magnetic, and who does it attract? Because this is the one thing I know. You're going to attract who you are. And if you remember that question earlier, would you work for you? Think about who works for you. As a leader, which is the final component, and maybe one of the most important components is strong leadership. Are you a person that's magnetic, that people wants to work for, that they want to follow? If you're having a lot of turnover, you're not keeping people, you either have a breakdown in these things that I've talked about on this blueprint, or you have a breakdown in your leadership skill, and they don't see the reason to work for you. So you've got a lot of things to kind of get in place before you get into hiring. And I wanted to lay that groundwork so that we understand that if we're having a lot of turnover, we're having a lot of drama in our business, we're having a lot of miscommunication, because that's the one thing. When we're small, it's easy to communicate, and we're usually with friends or buddies, and we kind of know what each other's thinking. But when we get outside of that, we start getting beyond $1 million and into 2, 3, 5, $10 million. It's going to take a lot of thought and a lot of strategy to put that together in a way that we keep this cohesive culture that everybody wants to be a part of. And so there's some planning. We hear this term all the time, take massive action. So go hire a bunch of people. Well, you just put them into something that isn't working and it's broken. And because of it being broken, it breaks them. We get drama. We have all these problems. And I start having all this stress and responsibility falling on me. I feel like we're out of control. Well, that tells us we didn't set things up correctly. So let's assume that you have walked through those processes, you've gotten things in place, and you have a good place for people to work. So what is my hiring strategy going to be? I decide I'm going to hire some folks. Well, we talked about it a little bit. I got to have strong leadership. I have this leader that other people want to aspire to be. This person that is constantly bringing up the vision of the company and how the role that the new person plays in that, and how important it is, and why they do what they do, and how it pertains to the customer and to the team and to the company and to themselves. And if we can't get this connection happening between us and our employee and them understanding why they're doing all this, because I'll tell you this, it's not about putting money in your pocket as the owner of your contracting business. They have something that they're after. Figure out what that is and help them achieve that. And you're going to create this magnetic culture that people want to be a part of. A lot of us get lost on this idea of money, in which it is when we're younger. That's kind of priority number one, is to get our finances under control and not have to worry so much about them. And we can motivate people through money. But if that's the only motivation, they're going to find a different place that pays them more. They become a mercenary, and you've allowed that to happen if you don't give them something more to get behind. And that's where your culture comes in. We want to create this magnetic culture that people want to be a part of, and they can be all different kinds, but you got to decide which one it's going to be. Are you going to be really professional and button down shirts and your own trucks, and they all look the same, and we've got lots of systems and processes and things like that in place, very structured? Are you going to be more of a family type organization? We see a lot of those do very well, although they get kind of limited on scale because they start running out of family. And the people they bring into the organization, if you're truly a family organization, you got to treat them like family. And last I checked, you can't just get rid of family. They still exist. They're still part of your lives. And so be cautious of the type of culture that you want to create. With my company, I wanted to create a competitive culture. I wanted it very sportsy, and all the guys I hired were athletic and wanted to achieve great things. And everything we did was revolved around being competitive. And it attracted other competitive people. And so we hire people like us in a lot of cases, or a culture that we want to emulate in our business. And those people that come in, other people see them and they say, hey, I want to be a part of that. That looks like they're having fun, they're enjoying it. And we can't get that across without this magnetic culture that attracts this ideal person that we want to be a part of our company. So we got to strategically position that in a vision that we're after, a purpose of why we're doing what we're doing that goes beyond just money, core values that we hold ourselves accountable to, and these behaviors that are expected of us. One of our core values was we're competitive, and everything was a competition. There were scoreboards everywhere. Every little thing revolved around that idea and our core value of being competitive, which obviously attracted other very competitive people, and they came into our organization, and that competition just kept going up and up and up, not to the point of being negative. It was very positive competition. But you can have very positive professionalism. You can have very positive family. You can have very positive multi-level marketing type approaches. Like, you can have these different cultures that emulate what it is that you're after, a place that you really want to work. That's what it comes down to. Would you work for you? You walk in the door and you see what you see, and your first impression says, man, I really want to be a part of what's going on here. There's excitement, there's joy, there's growth, there's fun. I want to be a part of that kind of stuff. So keep that in mind as you build out this hiring strategy. Is we got to get that culture set right. So let's assume we got strong leadership that people want to aspire to be like. We have this magnetic culture that people want to be a part of. We have all the processes, the right incentive for people and how we pay them, the correct tools to help them be successful in the field, proper expectations so that they know this is what they need to achieve as part of our company. And by achieving that, you'll be rewarded this way. And then holding them accountable to those expectations. And then finally, the support, our administrative staff and our production staff, and those processes that support what they do to ensure that they're successful. We got those things in place. Now we can actually do some real hiring. We can hire an excellent team because they have these things that they want to be a part of, they want to aspire to, and they have to be successful in the field. So with that in mind, how do we go about getting these people? I'm going to come right back to that in just 1 second. We're going to catch another message from one of our sponsors, and we'll come back to how to hire that pro sales team.
Who doesn't love getting more referrals? GTR will make your referral game stronger than ever with our 4-step process. First, engage with customers through job status updates and push notifications. Then, motivate your advocates to send referrals and earn rewards. Third, track and manage all of your results through your company's dashboard. And finally, sit back and enjoy achieving up to 40 times ROI. GTR is the #1 referral platform for contractors, so book your demo today at getthereferral.com.
Guys, if you haven't heard of getthereferral.com, you need to go check them out, set up a demo with them. There's a link down below in the show notes to get a discount because you're a Contractor Radio listener and Contractor Coach Pro community member. Go check them out. They'll boost your referrals. Referrals are the easiest people to sell, and we want as many of them in front of us as possible. So we need somebody to sell all those referrals, right? And so we want to hire this incredible pro sales team for our organization. And that's always our thought, right? Like this thought process, I want great people, highly talented, really strong, intelligent, competitive, smart, driven, all those words that you hear like would be my dream sales guy. But then we act like we're desperate. Anybody that can fog a mirror and walks into our office, we give a job to. And what we do is we actually create a virus inside of our business that just anybody can work here. And so why would that really talented person work here? And so we have to position it just as if we were positioning a sales process, and think of it on both sides. There's marketing to it, and then there's sales to it. And so in order to market, I've got to put us out in the right way for us to be successful in getting our ideal new hire or new teammate. And so what does that look like? Well, you should have a social agenda. Your entire company, including yourself as the owner, should be out there posting what it is you're doing, the culture that your company has, the success that people have, the problems that you solve, the great projects that you build. You see this from the top companies that are out there, and you see their culture, whether it's the big competitive teams and their training and all the fun that they have, and what they do outside of work together, or the amazing projects that people do and how they build the prettiest roofs in the world. Or they're just uber authentic and they're just straightforward. And like, you see these different cultures and you're like, that one is the one I kind of like. I want to be a part of that. And so we've got to share who we are and what we're about, and do so often. Don't be scared to do some advertising on social media. But when we do this advertising for new hires, we can't just say, hey, we're hiring sales reps. We have to limit it. We have to say only the best. We have to create this dynamic that it's limited, and it's limited to only the best. I'm hiring 2 new salespeople for our amazing sales team. They have strong abilities to talk with people, build relationships, understand a sales process, love training, and want to grow as an individual. If I start to set it up that way, that it's limited to a specific group of people and only 1 or 2 are going to get in, we're going to create this competitive effect that people are like, hey, I'm good enough to be a part of that team. But when you just say I'm hiring salespeople, anybody can show up. So we want to position it in a way that it's for the right people that we want it to be a part of our company, and that there's only a few of them that exist to be amazing members of our amazing team. If you really think about it, think about what your ideal person aspires to. They want to make great money. They want to be a part of a cool culture. They want to solve the world's problems and maybe give back, be a part of the community. We create that in our marketing that we're putting out there for our sales team. We're like, hey man, I don't know if you're good enough to be a part of our team. That's really the underlying approach to what you do when you're searching for this sales ninja team. I'd rather have 10 amazing ninja sales guys than 100 guys that I just can fog a mirror for me. That group of 10 will outsell that 100 all day long. We've got to give them support, like I talked about, with those 12 aspects of our business, that they're all in place. But I have to create this sense of not being up to the task of being a part of my company, because my company is the best. We are the ultimate. You could go work for any of these other guys and probably walk in the door and get a job, but only the best get hired here. So think about that when you're writing what you're writing. Think about what they aspire to and put that out. You want to make great money in an amazing culture and have a lot of fun doing it? I'm only hiring 2 people that can meet our requirements. And I'm going to look at that. That's like a challenge to me. Like this challenge to this guy that thinks I is a pretty good sales guy. Like, am I good enough to make that team? You think about it, nobody wants to be a member of the Detroit Lions. No offense to you Detroit fans, but everybody wants to be a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They got free agents lining up to get in the door. It's the culture. It is this idea that I'm going to be successful there if I get to be a part of this company. We have to create that dynamic, and one of the best ways to do that is through social media, getting your team to share that across the board. You sharing it to start with. If you're small, just you, man, share it. Let people know, hey, I'm looking for 2 great people to be a part of my company. or one great person. No more than 3 ever. It's just keep it limited. And you might end up hiring more because you came across some great talent and you attracted a lot of people. But keep in mind, you want to limit this. And the approach would be, hey, guess what? I'm going to open up the door to a few more people because you guys met our requirements. I didn't think there was that many of you out here. Let's see who can actually do the deal. So social, you can put this on job boards, but whenever you put that ad on that job board, you've got to create it with that same dynamic to it, that it's limited. Only the best will make it through. You've got a 30-day time period to prove your worth. And if you don't make it through that 30 days, we're going to find somebody else. Those type of things are okay to put in a job ad because you're going to attract the challenge, the person that likes challenge. You want to make sure that you attend job fairs. This is where we're getting the young crowd involved in what we're doing. They're coming out of high school. They may be coming out of college. They're looking for job opportunities. And a lot of people don't know how great it is of what we do. They have this perception that it's something else, that it's somewhere between ditch digger and garbage man to go be a in-home sales rep. One of the amazing things about this industry is you can make a crap ton of money and do a great job of serving your client at the same time. And if we can get that point across to people and the joy of going out and helping homeowners solve their problems and being their expert and advocate to do so, that sounds like a different job. That sounds like something I could be proud to do. And that's what they're looking for. They're looking for something they can have pride in, somewhere where they get recognized for the contribution they make. And at these job fairs, we got to get that across. Another thing that you can do is look for similar organizations. So other organizations that do what you do, maybe in a different trade or a different field, start recruiting their people. I've seen it in multiple circumstances where the contractors we've coached have targeted another sales team that they were making less, and because of the opportunity in our industry, they could approach them and say, hey, how are you doing with this? Like I had a company that just totally attacked Best Buy. All the Best Buy stores in their entire market, they went in, met all the guys that were working there, asked them how they were doing, how much they loved their job, did they like being outside, meeting new people? You should come hear about our opportunity. And they hired like 12 Best Buy guys that just killed it. So look at similar organizations that have some training already that'll make the ramp up easier. And it can be a variety of different things. Think in-home sales. I mean, maybe it's the security sales companies, the vacuum cleaner sales companies, pest control, like all those people. And I know that sounds dirty and underhanded, but if that's not the best opportunity for them and you have it, you are doing them a disservice by not telling them about it. Our job is to create opportunity for people and grow leaders. Now, the last piece of advice on this is to teach not only yourself and everybody on your team that you're always recruiting. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, be looking for those people that stand out, that look like they have the ability to do what we do, and they're up for the challenge. And ask them point blank. I've hired waiters and waitresses. I've hired people that work at car washes, guys at Best Buy, whoever I'm bumping into, car lots, you name it, Starbucks. I mean, people with great service skills and great ability to communicate. If we can create a new opportunity for them that helps them grow, achieve something amazing, set their family for life, why shouldn't we do that? And so you're always in recruiting mode, but you're also always in this challenging mode too. Like, hey, I think you'd be a good fit, but we're only hiring a couple of people right now for this amazing opportunity. I think you should apply. I don't know if you'll get the job, but I think you should come in and apply. That tells people you see worth in them, and they then wonder, are they up to the challenge? And they want to go find out. So keep that in mind as you're out there. We're not desperate. There's limited openings, and we are the best of the best. You can't get with anybody better than us because we've put all of these things in place. You want to create a process for this hiring process. It starts with the marketing side of it and all the different areas you can do that on social media, LinkedIn, job boards, Instagram. The whole time you're out there constantly putting it out that you are looking for the best of the best. So that's the top of the funnel, and you're getting people into that funnel, but now we actually have to hire them. And so what we do when we hire them can go a couple of different ways. One of the ways I really like to approach it is to have them do something first. And it doesn't matter what it is, just have them do something. It'll tell you if they really want the job or not. They can fill out an assessment. They can do a questionnaire. You can create a questionnaire on Google Forms and just say, hey, fill out this questionnaire. Let's see if you qualify. Take this assessment. Let's see if you qualify. And so you give them a task to do. If they don't do it, they weren't going to do anything else with you. But if they do it, it means they want the job. We really like the assessments. We actually provide those assessments here in our coaching service at Contractor Coach Pro, and we teach people how to use them. And then after they get hired, there's actually a coaching assessment that allows you to keep improving them. And so if you're interested in that, reach out to us at Contractor Coach Pro. We can help you with that to automate more of that. So we get them to do something. We may instigate a phone call next. So, hey, you've taken this. It looks like you are likely to qualify. I'd like to have a phone interview with you. This can, instead of being a phone interview, could be an online like Zoom meeting or FaceTime, some kind of interaction where you're on video and they don't actually have to come in yet. Just learn about the opportunity. And so you're there doing a demo, for lack of a better term. You're in sales mode now of showing what this opportunity is. I would create a short presentation that shows what we do, the life we live, the culture we're a part of, and how amazing it is to be a part of this, the money that can be made, the lives that can be changed, and share that with these people that are interacting with you for the first time. If they seem to fit and their things go well, probably bring them in for a final interview, the one-on-one, where we're going to get into some question asking. Now, one of the things that I always see people struggle with is they ask questions in a way that leads the person to the answer. For example, one of the worst questions you can ever ask anybody is, hey, do you consider yourself a hard worker? Who says no to that? No, I'm not a hard worker. Okay, you're not hard, get out, right? Nobody says, they say, yeah, I'm a hard worker. But if you rephrase that question just a little bit to say, hey, describe for me at one of your past jobs what the busiest day was you ever had. And they're kind of pause for a second. It's just the one day. It seemed like it was crazy for you. What was that like? And you explain to me, just take it from whenever you got up and went to work until the day was over. And they tell you this whole story about everything that happened and all the crazy stuff that went on. And you're listening to that story, and you're listening for two things. You're listening for talent that they have. So talent would be the inborn natural predication for somebody. Think their drive, their motivation. Those two things are different. Drive is what keeps us going. Motivation is what gets us started. A lot of people have motivation. Not a lot of people have drive. But those responsibility is an attribute or a talent. But on the skills side, there's skills like communication and presentation and coaching, and there's all these skills that we can learn. You're listening for those things, and as they tell their story, those things pop out to you saying, hey, this is one of those talents I'm looking for. This is one of those skills I'm looking for, and they seem to be good at it. There's a great book out there for this. It's called The Perfect Sales Force by Derek Gatehouse. I advise all of my clients to go buy this book. You guys should go buy this book as well. Understand the traits or talents that you're looking for. Understand the skills that you're looking for. That book is more about the talents, where we believe that if you combine the talents with these skills, you have this ability to create a great level of success. And because if somebody's got all the talent in the world and they lack the skill, it takes time to teach them all those skills, and that time to money thing starts to become a problem. So they could be greatly talented, a lot of drive, a lot of motivation, they're uber responsible, but they don't know how to communicate. Well, that's going to take a long time to teach that person that. Is it the right person to hire? So go get that book. It's a great book. Think about the skills that you would want as well and ask questions. Just think about all the things that you want from someone. I want these talents. I want these skills. What questions could I ask, and really what stories could I pull out of people where I could hear whether they have that skill or that talent or not? I like to ask people what motivates them. Most people, 90% plus, will say money. But then I'll ask them why. Why are you motivated by money? And it causes them to stop for a second. And they have to think about, what do I want to do with that money? Because that's all money is a tool. And if I can start to understand what they're really after, and they start to tell me a story about, I'm motivated by money because I want to buy a house, or I want to pay off bills, or I want to put my kids through college, or whatever it is, I start to see some talent there. I start to see some drive and some motivation that's getting them going in the direction that they need to go. I also listen to how they talk, and I can hear that communication or presentation skills, how to present value. And so I'm listening for all those things. So after that interview, I will usually give them one final challenge. This challenge could be, sell me something that's on my desk. That's an old technique. It's been around for years. And what you're wanting is for them to just try. More than anything else, is if they try and they go at it and go at it hard, they're trying to prove themselves to you. That's a person that's hungry, and I want to help that person. If they stumble and fall, I want to give them some coaching and see if they can come right back with it. If they're coachable, then great. They may be a good fit for you. But I'm gonna press them a little bit there on this challenge. One other way I challenge people is, hey, to be honest with you, kind of borderline. I don't know if you're cut out for this job. It's hard work. We go out and we do our thing. We meet with lots of homeowners. We're on roofs. We're in attics. We're in basements. We're in crawl spaces. Whatever it is that you do, there's a lot of math to it. I just don't know if you're cut out for this job. What I'm looking for is them to stand up and say, hey, you don't know me yet. Give me an opportunity. I'll prove to you I can do this job. Boom. That's the hungry guy. That's the guy I want. One of the other questions I like is, how hard would you work to earn six figures? And what I'm looking for there is the guy that's willing to sacrifice everything for the short term to get to the long term. The best answer I ever had to that question, he goes, dude, I would run into the middle of an intersection, spin one of those spinny signs around completely naked to make $100,000 a year. I'm like, that's my guy. Come on. I'm going to teach you how to make $100,000. That dude was hungry. He was willing to do whatever it took. So keep those things in mind. Really think about the questions that you ask. Don't ask questions that lead them to the answer. Ask questions that tell them the story, or that they give you a story, and keep digging. Like if you say, hey, what motivates you? Money. Why? I want to buy a house. Why do you want to buy a house? Well, I want to buy a house because I want to get married. I want to have kids. Oh, how many kids? I keep digging a little bit until I get that story where it's a little bit longer and it tells me what I'm looking for based on a talent or a skill. So I know that was a lot hard to digest. Hopefully it's helpful to you and you see some opportunity there. I want to pause real quick. We've got one more sponsor that we got to get in today. They're the ones that pay the bills, but I'm going to come back and give you some last little tips on hiring people and how to get them to be in your business and treat it as a career.
Kill Your Competition is a distinctly different web design and marketing company. We don't treat contractors like cheap leggings with a one-size-fits-all solution, and we don't charge monthly fees for SEO or any of our incredible resources. We aren't limited by a specific media or marketing strategy. Our only bias is your success, not Facebook, Google, or any other media. And we don't have to fake it with a third-party dashboard or glamour analytics. Learn more. Visit killyourcompetition.today.
If you guys are looking at building up the results that you get for leads or marketing because you want to get some leads in front of your new sales team you're going to hire, check out killyourcompetition.today. Meet Jessica over there. She is amazing at helping you generate more leads for your business. Her clients have experienced great success. I think you would as well. So some last tips on hiring a great sales team. Think about who you want to be, the approach, the strategy that you're going to go after. Are you going to be a door knocking company? Well, it's going to take a certain type of person with a certain type of drive to take a lot of no's to get to a yes, just to talk to somebody. Or are you going to be more of a digital lead generation type company or traditional lead generation type company where you provide leads to your guys? Well, that's going to give you a bit of an advantage on the talent that you hire. And they'll probably be a little bit more polished and have some sales skills and some past sales training. Where on the door knocking side of things, sometimes we have to build those guys up. Either approach is good. I've seen both be very successful, but determine the strategy that you're going to go after and hire accordingly to that strategy. Are you going to be a networking type company? Do we create opportunity through the network that we have? Well, then the people I would hire, I would want to hire people with large networks that know a lot of people. I don't want somebody that's just got 3 or 4 friends. I want somebody that's got a lot of friends. So really consider your strategy first, this goal that you're after, the vision of your company, who you're going to be in culture, and the strategic approach to that before you go out there and start hiring a bunch of people. We see early on when companies hire their first, 1, 2, or 3 salespeople, they tend to come in, they stay there, a month to 3 months, and it just doesn't work out. And they keep having this revolving door. The reason that revolving door is there is because of that time to money, and this place where I work is not the place where I want to be. We have to reposition those, approach them strategically, and if you need help there, that's what we do. We're Contractor Coach Pro. We coach our clients to this contractor's blueprint. We get all of those things in place, and then we turn on the switch because you can hire as many people as you want, put them into that process, and build and grow this great company that you start to build some leaders from. You're watching at all times in your sales team, your administrative team, your production team. You're looking at all of them, and you're looking for leaders to grow and put into positions of authority so that they can take some of the burden off of us and create more capacity for us. Because that's what it's all about. The more capacity we have to work on our business instead of in our business gives us this chance to grow our business. The better leaders we have and we put into place and continue to grow that business starts to give us some freedom to do what we want, when we want, with who we want, because we have some personal and financial freedom. If that's what you're looking for as a contractor, that's what we do here at Contractor Coach Pro. Go to our website, contractorcoachpro.com, click on the assessment button, take our assessment. It takes about 20 minutes. It's no joke. It's one of those things we're trying to find out if you're serious. Not everybody qualifies to get coached by Contractor Coach Pro. But if you fill out that assessment, complete it, we will do a free strategy call with you. We'll actually talk about your weaknesses, your strengths, and how to leverage those and how to position your company better. No strings attached. It's not a sales pitch. It's a coaching call. So you can understand what coaching is really like and how it might benefit your company, how your return on investment is exponential as compared to just trying to figure it out, or the school of hard knocks. If somebody's already been down the path, why wouldn't I pay them for that information so that path becomes faster for me so I can start getting to creativity and innovation and moving my company further and farther beyond everybody else out there. So go to Contractor Coach Pro, click on the assessment button, take the assessment. You'll get a link right back to pick a time on our calendar, meet with one of our amazing head coaches. They'll walk you through this blueprint. Where you're great, we won't worry about too much. Where you're weak, we'll help you build it out, get it into place, put you in a position to hire that pro sales team that you're looking for. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on Contractor Radio. We hope we gave you some help today, some great pointers, some golden nuggets in order to hire that pro sales team that you're looking for. We'll see you on an episode in the future. Don't forget, subscribe, download, rate our podcast, make comments, give us feedback, tell us what you want to hear. We would love to hear that, and we'll keep doing this for you guys because we're here to love, serve, and care for the contractor community. We'll talk to you later.